All right, guys, we've got another episode of the Growth by Shawn podcast. I'm here with Eddie Madden today. Eddie, how you doing, brother?
Doing great.
Sweet. So we got connected through Ice and Iron, I'll say. I found you guys after I did a podcast with Ryan, and then he told me to go and check you guys out, and then I was there. So now we're here, and we get to chat, have a nice little conversation, and go from there. So
Yes, we do.
the first thing that Mark wanted me to bring up with you though is the the Mudfloods and the Tartarians,
Mm.
and he just wanted me to have you explain it, or I don't have like a specific question. I guess you can fill me in on what this is and why I need to bring it up.
Yeah, well, Shawn's referring to Mark England, who is the head coach, founder of Enlifted Mindset Coaching Tools. And I've grown a great relationship with Mark. I appreciate him so much. And let's see, it was really funny when you said Mark has a couple questions I'd like to ask. So it's like this. There's a big group of people, when it comes to conspiracies, we're talking about conspiracies right now. A good way to just kind of gauge to see where someone's at is to say, what do you think happened on September 9/11?
Hmm.
Like you could
Mm-hmm.
meet your neighbor, for the
Yeah.
first time. And, after you start to get a little more chummy with the conversation, you could kind of gauge, where do people think we're at and what do we think, how much of our reality is being controlled
Mm-hmm.
and manufactured to get us to believe a certain thing. So I would say probably the whole Tartarian old world conspiracy rabbit hole. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're in luck because you can just go on any social media platform right now and plug in the Tartaria hashtag Mudflood, hashtag old world technology. You can just go nuts because it's really in vogue right now and it's really booming. And it really was booming and very popular in 2020, 2021. And I can speak for myself. I was trashed on Tartaria, totally drunk drunk on this information that basically they put their theory is that history is there's a forgotten hidden history that lies beneath the surface of our reality, and it involves architecture, it involves cathedrals, it involves churches, it involves Greco-Roman style architecture, Gothic architecture. It involves etheric energies, which right now a lot of people are talking about electroculture by taking copper wires and putting them in your garden. So there's lots of homesteaders that somehow, things just get in vogue. They started showing how their plants were benefiting from having copper coils, like a coil of copper, like a 3-foot piece of 10 gauge, 12 gauge copper coiled, and that creates an electromagnetic field. And what it does is it's bringing positive ions into the soil, which is helping all the microbiome in the soil. And so that just creates a really good environment for the plants. And the homesteaders were showing that the plants that had the electroculture coils on their garden were creating, twice as much, 3 times as much, 4 times as much fruit. And it was just so much more nutrient dense. So that theory is very much related to Tartaria because the premise is that the parts of the world, especially like old world cities in Europe and here that have big giant brick block buildings and have steeples, and they used to have lots of antennas on the steeples. And basically they're saying that there was a forgotten civilization that was wiped out by a cataclysm, maybe 500, 400, 300 years ago. And it caused a mud flood. Basically, they're saying that liquefaction occurred, that there were earthquakes all over the world. And that basically, because when if anyone is listening that has familiarity with concrete work, if concrete is your friend when it's wet and there's a lot of water in it, So if you're trying to, finish an area and it looks rough, you kind of pat it, you shake the ground, and that makes all the water come up. So when earthquakes happen, there's liquefaction events. So like the water that's in the earth, it kind of like shakes and comes up to the bottom and creates mud. And that's why you'll see a lot of buildings that have mud flood windows. It's called a mud flood window. It's where you see buildings. You can go into any town probably in the world, and go to the center of town, look for post offices, colleges, town hall, city hall, the old buildings, the old world architecture that has lots of archways, big blocks, big towers. They look like castles, but now they're schools, or now they're, like the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., just picturesque, old world building. So they'll say that those windows, a lot of them have windows on the ground layer. Like we were looking at a building in Boston not long ago, and there was windows that went 22 feet below the ground. So I'm standing on the ground, there's a basin, and then there's a window that goes 22 feet down. And it's like, why would they build that building? So the Tartarian mud flood conspiracy theory will state that there was a liquefaction event, and all of the ground floors got mudded over, and that's why all the windows. So there's that. Then there's the electroculture, where they say that all of the steeples were used just the way the electroculture is used in gardens, where they were this old civilization known as the Tartarian civilization, because that's just it's actually a cruel generalization that takes credit away from a lot of people that did build these buildings. But the premise is that we didn't build these, we couldn't have built them with our technology, kind of like the Egyptian pyramid type theory, like who built them? We couldn't build it today. So it's that kind of deal. And they were saying that they were harvesting those high, like the Vatican, all those old world buildings all over Europe that are stunning, beautiful, that they had antennas, and they were harvesting the etheric energy out of the air, kind of like a Tesla coil, sort of. I'm not an electrical engineer, but they were using that to power, and they were pairing it with sound like an organ. So basically they were holding energy in the buildings. There was free energy, or they had energy that wasn't resource from like electricity or generators, that they were just taking energy from the sky. And it's a deep thing. Very, very, very fascinating. This one producer, who's kind of anonymous, his name is Eware, Eware. He created maybe 10 to 20 hours of riveting film based on fact, written beautifully, composed with music, sites, drone footage from all over the world. And he's a scholar, he's a real academic guy. And he created these documentaries. One was called What on Earth Happened? That probably came out in 2018, 2019. That goes into all kinds of stuff, like the great flood that everyone talks about, and mud floods. And then he came out with The Lost History of Flat Earth in 2020, which was a 6-hour documentary, which really doesn't have much to do with flat Earth. In fact, he ended up renaming it, and he actually pivoted. And basically, everyone was trashed on Tartaria, totally gullible, partially generalizing the whole world. And the cool thing is that I've really come back to reality and say, like, okay, our world is being controlled, the history is being manufactured, things are not as they seem, we're being suppressed, depressed, oppressed, the whole deal. It's not a really great way of thinking. It doesn't really free my mind, it doesn't free my heart, but there is some real mysteries there. And me and a group of friends, we just loved it. It was just so fascinating. It opened up our mind. It really opened up my mind. It opened up my heart in a lot of ways. And then I've been able to reel it back in, and it's entertainment. And Mark obviously was very entertained when I was trashed, telling him about it. And there's some resources. It's pretty cool stuff.
Huh. Well, this is gonna be quite fun and interesting. So I let's go here. What is your favorite mystery of the world that you like to look into and believe?
I will say that we are not the most intelligent beings that originated from this earth and are on the earth right now.
Okay. So who would that be? Or what would that be? Or you're
I
not
don't know, but
sure?
it's tough. You could go, think about Sasquatch,
Yeah.
think about trolls, elves, jinns, leprechauns, fairies. Uh, Sasquatches, abominable snowmen, um, trolls, elves. There's a big thing. There's a lot of research, juicy research that you could perform and look into Iceland, how they have troll. I think it's troll or not elves. It's troll lore. Like there's like they were going to build a roadway in Iceland, and there was like this mystical land in Iceland, and they were going to build a highway through there. And there's like a troll council that doesn't really have a representative or has a representative, but no one's ever seen them. And like they're the government of Iceland is like receptive to this troll council. It's like, is this a joke? But it's like really, you could really find it in their their government pages, their websites, or it's a real thing. And I guess once they had a representative come and said something to in a board meeting. I don't know if this was a little person or if it was a big person representing them, but they didn't build a highway. I learned about that about like 3 years ago. I was like, wow. And yeah, the rabbit hole, it's like we dig our rabbit holes with curiosity. Like the more
Yep.
curious we get, we're just going to keep burrowing, and there's just more, there's all kinds of stuff down there.
Yeah. So what do you think in terms of what happened with how many different like conspiracy theories have you gone into and just been open to? Like all of
As
them?
much
Have
as
you
I
been?
have time, as much as I have
Yeah.
time for, I watched probably in like 2007, I watched a documentary called Zeitgeist that kind of exposed the whole 9/11 deal.
Hmm.
And then they exposed religion,
Hmm.
dogmatic Christianity. They kind of, it was kind of weird. It got a little weird in that, but that kind of opened my eyes to the 9/11 thing. And then went into watch some flat earth documentaries. Um, some good ones like
Hmm.
Flat Earth, the Litmus Test, The Biggest Lie Ever Told. I was at a Guns N' Roses concert one time, and a buddy of mine, it was a full moon. It was light out. We were getting ready to go to a Guns N' Roses concert. We were like going to take a leak, and I was like, "Look at that moon, man! Awesome." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you believe in aliens, John?" He's like, "Dude, listen, I'll tell you this. If you can prove to me that the Earth's round, I'll chop my dick off." I was like, dude, what? So that created, we were just walking through like,
Yeah.
Gillette Stadium, getting ready for a concert. And
Yeah.
he gave me all these resources and I dove down, and that really like, I was like drunk on that for a little while.
Hmm.
But so there's that. There's there are people conspiring to take control and make money.
Hmm.
If me and you start a business, we're gonna conspire so that way we can take control and make money.
Hmm.
That's just the way it is. So, but I do believe like when it comes to like our reality and the realm and like beings and who we are and how we are placed in this world and what we can do with it, what we can do with our opportunities and our resources. I believe, Shawn, that nothing is more powerful than a belief. So if you believe, there's confirmation bias that comes into effect. Like if you believe the earth's flat, you're going to find all the evidence that you need to base a case that the earth's flat. If you're on the other side of the spectrum, you think that, all the planets revolve around us and we're on a spinning ball of water, it doesn't matter. So I believe that we're creating our reality by way of our reticular activating system. It helps us notice things in our environment that are around us. We charge that up with our self-talk and our talk and our inner dialogue. And I think we create that's the biggest we're the biggest oppressors of ourselves because our belief systems oppress us. Like belief is the enemy of knowing. Take that how you want to take it, listeners, audience, Shawn. But I just think that whatever you believe is true. Like we can create whatever we want to create. If I don't know if you can create it, manifest an alien abduction, but try it.
Yeah.
There's just lots of cool stuff out there. There's more out there that we don't know that we do know. Reality is stranger than fiction. It's just it's entertainment for me.
Yeah.
Really get entertained. I don't get too crazy. I don't try to push it on others, and I really try to figure out. I like to walk myself close to the edge and kind of fall off the edge and grab and save myself and pull myself back up for analogy purposes. But they're fun. They're fun.
Yeah. It's I love that you said that. It was something that had popped into my mind last night too. Like I was thinking just about what we focus on and how that becomes our reality. And then when you go to explain it to someone, they could go and be like, all right, well, I want this pig to go and fly. And where is the line of can that become a reality if I truly, because it's one thing to focus on it and want it to happen. It's another thing where if you genuinely believe it, and changing your beliefs, I think, is one of the most difficult things that we can do, because it's one thing to go and repeat it and want it to happen. It's another thing to deep down, like, that's the truth that you actually desire, is this belief to be true. Like, I could want X, Y, and Z, but unless I truly believe it, it may not happen. And that goes in, like when you talk about reticular activating system, I think part of that coincides with the law of attraction and manifestation. I think all of those on an energetic level just intertwine. And it's possible to have one without the other, but when they all intertwine together, that's when like change starts to actually happen. Just like when you talk about what you focus on is your reality. The easiest, simplest way that I put it with people is if I have them look around a room and I say, look for everything that's blue, have them close their eyes and then ask them what they saw that was red. They probably didn't. It's unlikely that they saw many things that are red, but then they can tell me everything that's blue. The red things were still there, but they weren't looking for any of the red things.
Great example.
That's the easiest way that I put it. And the more that I'm able to go and have these conversations, it just makes it more fun because I can create anything that I want to create. I don't, and that's where I struggle with like a belief in a sense of I can create whatever I want to create, but I think that there's a line where can I create actually anything? And in order to create anything, I have to truly change the belief that I believe it's possible to create truly anything. Like if I wanted to summon a ghost of sorts in my home or something. I'm just trying to use like the easiest realistic type example where someone can actually picture it. What do you think we as the human experience, what do you think the point of the human experience is?
To learn as much as possible. I think that we came in here and we signed up for a very unique position. You and me, two white males that have lots of abilities, and we live in America. And I believe that everybody gets dealt their own equal share of oppressions. I think it could be emotional, it could be physical. I think that we come here in this very unique position as as you, and the plan is because this was the most unique, perfect position for us to come in and to evolve spiritually, to, evolve, to, to either we do the work or we don't do the work. So we're placed in a position let's say that I'm born 6'5" and I live in Florida, and my mom and dad were both great athletes, and so was everybody else. So I was born in Miami. I'm huge. I'm an athlete. I have the best water, the best sunlight, the best air in the whole country in Florida. And my town loves football. So I'm placed in a position. I'm born near ladders. That doesn't mean they're elevators, they're ladders. I still have to climb up those ladders. And if I want to, I can create, some generational wealth, maybe with luck, by way of my athleticism and my ability to impact and influence others and gain popularity, because that might be my niche. If I, get tempted, if I fall to temptation and decide to take another route and become a drug dealer or become a soldier, now I'm taking myself into a different place. I think that we're born here with awesome opportunities. And as we pivot and reconfigure our destination, our goals. I mean, if you don't have any goals, it's going to be tough to get anywhere. But yeah, I think that great spirit is something that can't be measured or spoken about. It's something that's power and more mighty than anything we know. And it's unconditional love, and it's inside us. And great spirit is linked to our imagination. And when we use our imagination and pair our imagination with our breath and our words and our actions, we can create things that seem impossible. And I think that great spirit I always say great spirit is down for whatever. That great spirit, the magic that's inside our heart and inside our brain, that has the ability to help us create things that are uncreatable, that are just not possible. We can do that by deciding, by being decisive, believing in ourselves and going for it. Now, doubt is the devil. So doubt will stop us from moving towards our goals. But I say great spirit, I want to really pound that in, is down for whatever. Because if we just want to be indecisive, and I've been guilty of that in my life, like I'm not sure if I want to go left or I want to go right. Great spirit is unconditional love. We're loved by that spirit no matter what, and we're going to be equipped and helped and guided to do whatever it is we want to do. But we have to decide. So if we just want to float around and just be, not making any decisions, just kind of in limbo, great spirit loves us so much. We're talking eternity, beyond time and space. There's no rush to get it done. So if we want to fuck off in this life and not take care of our body, not take care of our words, not set goals, not take risks, not put work in, then great spirit still loves you, and he'll be with you, or she'll be with you when you're getting filmed your 600-pound life on TLC or A&E, like whatever it is that you want to do, great spirit will do it. But we have mighty, mighty, mighty creative power. I believe my worldview of what this is, we have that with us, and the way to, get on the throttle is to make goals, set goals, appreciate your wins, understand your strengths and weaknesses, but really get after it. I think that's one of the big things that The Secret and Law of Attraction is missing. Like, okay, there's visualizing a goal, talking about a goal, writing a goal down, repeatedly talking about a goal, vision boards, all that stuff. You could have your whole house surrounded in vision boards around, a Ferrari that you want to buy. But if you don't actually reverse engineer the goal and take practical steps right now, you're just going to be sitting in your apartment with the pictures of the Ferrari everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the key is to take steps, because once you start moving into the direction of your goal, and you have the visualizations and breath, and you're writing about it, and you're talking about it, and you're reading about it, and you're watching stuff about it, you're just sponging everything on that goal. You become obsessed with that goal, and obsessed with the journey on the way to that goal. All kinds of things are going to pop up on your path: opportunities, shortcuts, cheat codes. The whole deal will pop up because we're doing the work and move towards that goal. So I just feel like this is a schoolyard for souls. We're here to learn the hard way. There's no easy way. I mean, we came here to work and find the treasure.
Mm-hmm. Your worldview and your actions and where you're at right now, how have they changed over the past 10 to 20 years to where they are today?
Hmm. I would say now I'm about quality, and
Mhm,
10, 20 years ago, I was about quantity.
mhm,
So high quality, core memory moments that are created with me and people that I love and things that I love, like nature, the earth, the ocean. They really mean a lot to me. These quality moments, quality relationships, and quality experiences really mean the most to me. And when I say experiences, I mean self-development experiences that are going to help me get out of my comfort zone and push, and also novel experiences like traveling to different areas that I've never been to. Previously, I was raised in working class Boston. I spent the first 2 decades of my life, even as a little kid, on job sites in the city, moving on different job sites, doing asphalt paving construction, whether it's driveways or parking lots. And then I've been coaching football for 17 years total. And I was also in the restaurant business for 13 years. So I went to school during that. So I was someone that was really juggling lots and lots of balls. Like I said, quantity, right? I was really multitasking and dividing my energy up into many different areas. Plus, I was really interested in social experiences too. Lots of alcohol, lots of drinking, life of the party. Wanted to plan the best vacations and get great personalities to attend, so just have fun experiences that way. But back then I did not value the earth. I didn't value my body. I didn't value organic food. I didn't value meditation and spiritual practices. I didn't value um, some relationships. I lost my sister in 2018. I think that I was just kind of, I didn't have both hands on the wheel back then. So now I realize that every day is the best day ever. And it really is if you have an eye for that. So I take a lot of pleasure now in the simple life. I take a lot of pleasure. Some of the best therapy sessions I have is cleaning, just by myself, whether I'm cleaning outside areas of my home or cleaning inside, just cleaning, carrying water. I source spring water at least once a week, 20, 30 gallons, filling that up at a spring, carrying them, taking care of them. My gardening, I have, probably like 20 or 30 plants going right now of different varieties, taking care of them, just I've simplified, and I appreciate quality experiences and quality relationships and doing the right thing, Shawn. No matter who's watching, like people that I just want to do the right thing, because I'm a good, what they call a good karma yogi. I just want to do the right thing. If I'm driving around, try to let people go all the time. Like I was just telling my girlfriend, to finish the tangent, when I'm second car at a red light and the person in front of me is on their phone and the light turns green, I like to wait like 5 seconds. Well, I don't even beep,
mhm,
right? But I'm watching them. And it could be green. I mean, the people behind me might beep, but
mhm,
if it's just me and I have an opportunity to not beep, that person's gonna, oh shit, the light's green, and I see them look at me. Maybe they'll throw up a wave, maybe they won't. But the relief that I kind of gave them and let them figure that situation out
mhm,
on their own is like a little karma. That's like a little gift for me. Or
mm,
like letting someone go when I really don't need to let them go. That's like me investing $1 and getting back 10. So I just like constantly try to do things like that. Just try to do the right thing. It's nice to be nice. Sometimes I can be a dick, especially to myself. Most importantly, a dick to myself. So I just want to try to be nice and just take it easy and enjoy quality moments, experiences, and relationships.
This more simplified life that you have created that you really enjoy, what do you what do you want it to look like in the future? Um, do you want it to look similar to what it is now, or we had talked a little bit about goals and having to have goals and then reverse engineering them. But um it's difficult for me when I look at like this best day ever at times and living uh for the day, and then having the future there and wanting it to be better in a sense. Or will it just be more of the same feelings, just a different external? What do you how should I word this to roundtable this thought? Um, when you look at the future, what do you want it to look like for you internally and externally?
Well, internally, I'd like to continue to strive for more and more space and clarity.
Hmm.
On the outside, I want to be surrounded by people that I love. Not too many people. I'm madly in love with my partner. We live together. We've lived together for almost about 2 years, I'd say. And we have goals of expanding our garden operation, expanding. We have a dog, expanding our family. Maybe buying a homestead or a bed and breakfast or because she's a teacher as well. So we want to be able to share our gifts, take care of the earth, and take care of each other and still have enough freedom to explore and just deepen our relationship and continue to seek out really cool, novel, exotic experiences. I will say that I live right outside of Boston, as you know, and close to the cities. I would say when the world got shut down in 2020, my ability to forecast my long-term future got severely disabled because I realized that sovereignty is a big is a big challenge for someone that lives in a city. So it's kind of like I sometimes wonder, let me be frank, I would like to find myself further and further as possible outside a city because of harmful EMF, electromagnetic frequencies in the environment that are non-native. I think that the technological race right now, the only way for it to be sustained is for 5G and 6G to be rolled out. So that way, like self-automated cars and deliveries and drones and everything can be able to plug in. I just think that they're just it's gonna become less of like a city or a landscape and more like the inside of a computer. And I think that can be really harmful to our biological bodies. And I think it can be, I think it's very dangerous. So that's a big part of my exterior goals is figuring out how to align my ability to make money. And because I run a construction business in the city of Boston. I'm a high school football coach. I run Ice and Iron Wellness with Rob and Jordan. We have goals to expand that. But if you're not around a population of people, if we're living out in the sticks, first of all, am I going to coach? Am I going to teach? Am I going to teach at some high school in the sticks? Because when you're in the public school, you're basically still on the tit of, control, right? You're basically holding on to the pocket of the controller. So how to become sovereign where I don't need anything from anybody. So yeah, I start small, Shawn. But yeah, I would say things have really changed because I really value the earth. I don't think that everyone says you want to own land. Does anyone ever own land?
Mm.
Can you own land? I don't think the indigenous people felt that they owned it. They were stewards of it. They were taking care of it. I would like to find a piece of land that I could take care of for a long period of time, 20 to 30 to 40 years. I'd like to find one piece of land that I could dedicate the rest of my life to. with my family. That's probably the number one. That's the number one exterior environment goal for me.
Yeah. The 5G, 6G conversation is definitely interesting. The technological world, in a sense, um, with all these self-driving cars and everything, what happens when the person or people, whatever group of people that you want to call it, decides that they don't want you to drive your car anymore and they
Hmm.
shut the car off, or the car itself decides to shut off if the not it wouldn't have a level of consciousness, but like for an AI automated um computer car piece of technology, what happens when that decides that it doesn't want to serve the human experience anymore?
Hmm.
Um, when we had 2020, what do you think that what do you think the purpose of that was?
Like from a spiritual point of view, like if we could, looking down on everything, taking everything into
Yeah,
account.
yeah, yeah. Let's take everything into account, not just a good or bad, just an all in all experience.
Yeah, I think it
Because no
was,
matter which one, so like if someone believes
yeah.
it, doesn't believe it,
Yeah.
I don't really care.
Well, when we get sick, if I'm working really hard or I go on a vacation, I'm traveling, whatever it may be, when I finally come home, I get sick, right? Because it's
Mm,
usually that happens because I'm trying to go right to work the
mhm,
next day, after travel day, or I'm just working too hard multiple days in a row. My body gets sick because it wants to slow me down, right? Or
uh,
diseases come in, or like an old person who's a workaholic gets a stroke, right? What's that about? It's kind of like a stroke of slow down, like you're burning your system out. So I think that we collectively as a species were really burning out the system. We were burning out the earth. We were burning out ourselves. We were burning everything out. And collectively, it was a stroke of, it was a slowdown stroke for us. And you could create all kinds of different stories on what that was. But in
mhm,
general, people got healthier, people grew more food,
mhm.
uh, good friends became closer. Um, Not so good friends probably broke up and they probably may have not talked, or maybe, who knows? I think it was purposeful and much needed.
Huh, I've never heard it explained like that. So, you know?
So I have a lot of Taoist principles,
Mhm,
which is kind of like I said about Great Spirit, how there's like a being. Well, Great Tao is like the Tao is the flow, right? It's
mhm,
everything is working out perfectly. Everything has a cause and effect. Everything's balancing everything out. So, like I was watching this movie the other day called 3,000 Years of Longing. I don't know if you've seen it, but Idris
mhm.
Elba is a jinn who's basically like a genie in a lamp, and it's a great movie. And it's all about three wishes. And my partner said, "What would be your three wishes?" And I said, I don't know that I would want anything. I would be tough for me to get three wishes because there's going to be a cause and effect. And I trust that I'm getting everything that I deserve
Mhm.
and earned, right? And if I don't have it yet, it's because I haven't earned it, or maybe I don't deserve it. If I earn it, I'll deserve it. My point is that everything is working, everything's perfect, like Ramdas says. Like that's so crazy to believe, but I do believe that everything's perfect, no matter how bad it is. It's going to be a great fuel for a great story at the victory table. And I just feel like everything's working out. Like things are working out for me. I have everything I need. Good things are
Mhm.
on the way. COVID pandemic was great for me. It
Hmm.
was great for me.
Yeah.
I really feel bad for a lot of people that lost their lives. Like, I've lost my mom, I've lost my sister, I've lost many, many best friends. I've
Mhm,
been come very close with death many times in my life. And you know what? Life's part of death, you know?
mhm.
Death is part of life. And we got to keep going. We got to continue to persist. Persistence is fertile, Shawn. Persistence is fertile.
Mm. What do you think about do you think that there are robots here pretending to have the human's experience already?
Like if we like we're looking
Like
at
walking
downtown
walking down,
Boston,
yeah,
we saw like six
walking
hundred
down the
people.
street.
Do I
Yeah,
think
walking
there's
down the
robots
street.
there?
Yeah.
Um,
You think there's a couple floating around somewhere?
like NPCs, non-player characters.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah,
I mean, you can
yeah,
say a lot of
yeah.
there's a lot that you can say to people and they just get confused. I could go into a gas station and start ranting and raving about whatever, and I mean no one will care. No one will even bat an eye or anything, you know?
It's true, and
Oh.
it's funny. The world is very funny. People are funny. Interactions with people are funny.
Yep.
Even Mark England said once, he just hit the nail on the head, and it's just he probably says it all the time. But if you're breathing and you're in a responsive place, right? You're in your center, you're breathing, you have the ability to respond what's going on around you. We're not jacked up, right? The breath isn't in the chest. I'm huffing and puffing. Oh fuck, what's he gonna say? Like, I'm low and slow, and I go into that gas station. You can kind of be a little tactical, strategic with ways you want to create your own entertainment in life.
Mhm.
You can be responsive with how you speak and respond to people. That gets really fun,
Mhm.
and it's an advanced practice.
Mm.
So we're
Yeah.
all working on it, right?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I was just curious, like your thoughts. You know, we started with conspiracy theories in a sense in that little rabbit hole and going into more of the spirit. And there's just a lot of unique, interesting ways that this conversation could have gone. Um, and I was just excited to like hear your thoughts of it with a lot of different things, you
Yeah.
know? So I mean that's all this conversation is.
Yeah, it's a great convo. I just it's fun to talk, and
Yeah.
it's fun to listen, because
Yeah.
we would just be two guys, oh, look at that guy, and I'm back into my own head, but when we connect and
Mm.
see each other and receive, now we get to pull stuff out of each other. And
Yeah.
I you pulled some funny stuff out of me today.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that.
I appreciate it. So how how we close the podcast off is the last guest has left a question for you.
Oh,
All right.
great.
So I think this is a good one for you. This is from Cole Harris. He is another person in the Enlifted community. So I always like to preface that if they are. But Cole has said, "What are your values and why are they your values?"
Hmm. I value a holistic lifestyle, because when I
Mhm.
take care of all aspects of myself, I show up stronger, more centered than I was before. So I would say a holistic lifestyle is my number one value. And my number two value is to not take life too seriously. Probably got growing a little mullet. So that way, every time I look myself, mustaches work good for that too. Every time you look yourself in the mirror, you kind of crack a smile, because is it really that serious?
It
Um,
I understand.
Yeah, so holistic lifestyle, not taking things too serious, and getting uncomfortable, Shawn. I think it's important for us to get out on our edge
Mhm.
and get things make us feel a little shaky. Go try it. Like last week, I went up and I attended a stand-up open mic comedy night at a bar in the city, and it's been like over 10 years maybe since I've done that. I'm by no means someone who knows what they're doing up there,
Mhm.
but it's fun and it makes me a little nervous. It gets me on my edge. It gets me out of my comfort zone to go up there and not care what people think about me, and just kind of take responsibility for what I say and try to be funny and not take myself too serious. And
Mm.
yeah, so my holistic lifestyle,
Mhm.
not taking yourself too serious, and getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, those are good ones. I like all of those. So
They're working so far. They're working so they are. Um, yeah, I love that you do that on your podcast and you ask the guest to ask the future guest a question.
Yeah, it wasn't something that I like created or came up with. I listened to a different podcast that uh does it, and I was like, this is fun. I'm gonna do this too. You know, I don't think I'm at the first couple times that I did it, I always prefaced that, hey, I didn't come up with this, but at this point I don't say that because I don't want it to just be I've done like I think I have like got close to 20 of these cards now. Um where we're about like probably 85 episodes in. So I've only been doing it for the past like 20 episodes or so. But yeah, I always let people know beforehand, but it was just such a fun idea that I was like, yeah, this I love this. And the people that come on, you uh seem to love it too. You know, it's just like, oh, this one guy is going to ask me a bunch of questions and things where then it's like, oh, I get someone else to ask me something too. It's just like a another little like spice um that I get to add that's fun, you know.
It's fun.
And we have so many different uh people and questions and everything that I'm able to talk to and people get to it gives you not just from the creativity that you were able to bring to this conversation, but like a little bit of outside the box thinking for when you get to ask someone your question as well, you
Mm,
know? And people really enjoy that because it makes them feel um I find that it makes them feel a little bit more important as well. Not that you aren't or weren't, but it just adds another level to it, you
yeah.
know, where it's like you're, I almost want to say, continuing a little bit more of a legacy to it instead of it being one podcast episode that you get to be a part of. Now you're a part of two,
Mm,
you know?
really
So
good.
it adds a whole nother layer to it.
It's a great layer. And
Yeah.
Shawn, you do a great job. You're very articulate. You're
Mm,
a great listener, and you really sneak these great questions in to a very casual conversation. That's my takeaway right now in real time from you as a host. It's been really lovely to be a guest. And my advice is just to keep going, because some of the things we're most proud of in life are the things we worked the hardest on
mm,
and did the most and put the most time into. So just keep hammering, try to do what you can to simplify it so it doesn't become too much of a chore. But if you love it, share it. So just keep
mhm.
going.
Yeah, Eddie, thank you very much. Those are very kind words that I do take very seriously because at one time I did not take them seriously because people would say, um, "Oh yeah, great guest. It's one of the greatest podcast, whatever." Blah 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 blah. And for me, it was I didn't believe it, so I didn't even really acknowledge it. I just burned past it. But as I continue to believe it, and I have a lot of fun doing it, and that makes it more special when someone comes and the things that I look to work on, other people see as well is very important and exciting for me to be a part of. So the last little segment in a sense is just where we can find you if we either have want to have a conversation with you if you're up for something like that or perhaps a nice and iron event, things of that nature, wherever whatever you want to spread an awareness to of where we can help guide ourselves to you.
Yeah, you could find us at Ice and Iron on Instagram. That's basically our main home for Ice and Iron events, which are wellness workshops in the Boston area. And we do travel, we do private events. And yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to me with some feedback from the conversation, they can send me an email, edward.madden, the number 4 at gmail.com, edward.madden 4 at gmail.com. I do a lot of coaching. I'm a high school football coach. That's going to be kicking off in about a month. I usually keep a couple, 2 to 3 clients, one-on-one clients. One I've been working with for a long time. So he's kind of But yeah, if anyone wants to do some work, do a session, hear me talk about Enlifted and how great of a program that is, or how great of the Czech Institute is, two programs that have really uplifted my caliber of being in a huge way. And I love it. So I like to share those things. And it's been great. It's been really great. Oh, my question for the next guest.
Yes, I'm actually what I think I'm gonna start doing is I've been asking at the end where we're still recording, but I
Oh, so
think
they don't know.
yeah, I think it would be the thing is I'll normally ask, and then this leaves almost a little bit of a teaser because this podcast won't be out for another, let's say, month. Okay. So then when they listen to your episode, they go and listen to this, and then they have that last question, and then the next guest will answer it. But like where it leaves like a small little cliffhanger for like at least the next like week. But I think
Mm,
I'd rather ask it when we're not recording.
yeah,
That way only I know. But
it's
it
love.
doesn't matter because like the next person isn't going to know either way. It's just on like a week to week basis, something to look forward to. But I think it's just more fun for me if only I know. So I
It's
think I'm
love.
just going to do it that way,
It's lovely. You got
you
it
know.
down. Perfect.
Yeah. But all right, that's where we'll end it. All right. Thanks guys.